Hello, everyone, and welcome to our conversation today about the workshop with Judy Hemmons and Sandra Wilson, Chaos or Harmony, Where's the Balance? So we're just going to take a few minutes to talk together about this workshop that's upcoming at the Supervision Conference. Am I getting that right? Maybe you could say a little bit about where and when to start us off. Would that be okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's on Saturday the 7th of April in Birmingham, and uh, Carl Gregory is doing the keynote speech in the morning. And there's a theme around sort of balance, and that's a lot of what he'll be bringing in his keynote speech as well. Then we're doing some workshops in the morning with some really interesting people coming there. And then in the afternoon, I'm one of the people who are running a workshop. So the master classes in the morning, workshops in the afternoon, of which I'm doing one.
Yes. So it's going to be part of the workshop program at the Supervision Conference that colleagues, I guess, can still book up on and
They
come
can
along.
still book up right up until the day, as far as I'm aware.
Fantastic. So colleagues could come in the room, see Carol's keynote, which I'm sure is going to be fab. Carol is a really great, and also be part of the workshop. But Judy and Sandra, you're doing something a little different. That means if colleagues can't come to the conference, they can also participate. Is that right?
They can. I don't know whether Sandra would like to introduce the technological side of it, as she's very kindly offered to assist me in this workshop.
Yes, no problem. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. As you say, John, so people that would be able to attend the workshop will also be able to take part. But it's not only just for putting it out there on Facebook, but we're going to then be able to have the workshop supervision session demonstrated, which Judy will talk about in a moment. So the fact that we'll be able to be recording that as it's actually the session's going. And people who are also not in the room will be able to then look at the session as it's actually happening. We'll be kind of live streaming from the workshop, and then we'll put the session onto Facebook so people can come along to the Facebook page. But the great thing about that is that they'll be able to then comment, kind of give their feedback along with, the people in the room.
Sounds pretty exciting, really. The whole workshop is going to be available to watch as a Facebook Live event. And which Facebook page is that going to be, Sandra?
So we'll be live streaming on online events CPD page.
Yeah, okay. So if colleagues go to the Facebook page on the Saturday of the workshop, they'll be able to see the whole program as it's happening. And it sounds like you've got some interesting exercises to do that maybe we could unpick a little bit later. So yeah, let's come back to that. Judy, could you say a little bit about the theme of the workshop? Would that be okay?
Well, the theme of the workshop, I called it Chaos or Harmony, Where's the Balance? Because it speaks to my relationship with technology as much as my relationship with the work of supervision, both being a supervisor and being in supervision. The whole point of this day and my interest in it is I'm very interested in working with risk, because I think we would take risks every time we show up for a therapeutic meeting with somebody. If you're going to really engage well, inevitably there's risk in that process. So I feel like I'm putting myself in a high risk position to do a live session, and also to bring in technology. I do have a love-hate relationship with technology, because in my experience it often goes wrong. And when it goes wrong, what happens? And how do we manage those kind of ruptures and failures is such a question of supervision, as well as how we engage with technology, whether it's on an online situation like this, or trying to contact our bank, or even telephone sometimes will let you down. So the whole thing, I find very interesting and quite exciting to play with as much as anything, if I can hold on to a sense of playfulness with this, as well as all the inherent kind of interest and complication, I think I'll get a lot out of it. I think it would be a great learner for me, and hopefully for everybody else engaged in the process.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's such an interesting and courageous theme also, like the idea of chaos in all of our contact, in all of our encounters, and the risk that's inherent in those meetings.
Yeah. And that's we live in a risk-averse society, and I think I teach counselling, and I see a lot of anxiety in counselling students, the fear of getting it wrong, and it's almost like this sort of big brother mentality of being observed or being found wanting in so many ways. And I really want to challenge that, because I think the more we learn to trust ourselves in the moment and really engage with another, that's where change and healing can occur. But all the time we're holding ourselves back, and we're really tense and anxious because we're frightened of what the other person's thinking. We're not engaged and engaging in the way that we could. We're missing so much of that.
Yeah, yeah. And this is a real big theme in the world of counselling and psychotherapy just now, about defensive practice, and how do we still practice with an open heart and being able to take risks, and at the same time being mindful that as a culture we are becoming more litigious. And
Yes. And I mean, one of the things that's occupied my thinking a lot in planning this day, this workshop for is the ethics of it. To how can I ask somebody to kind of be observed in a supervision session and ensure that there's a container that's safe enough. So part of what I'll be doing on the day is ensuring that there's a very clear contract between not just me and the person who's willing to offer themselves up for a supervision session, but both the live audience and the online audience. So there's that notion of respect, of what used to be called fidelity, that you will honor the courage it takes to do something like this as an observer, and challenge and question, but also respect any confidentiality that's within that container.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. And I think will be interesting to the colleagues who are watching this little trailer that in the workshop you're going to do a demonstration session of supervision.
Yes,
is that right?
a live session, because I'm, again, going back to technology, one of the extraordinary gifts that I find, I love videoing sessions, and as a teaching tool, it's amazing. We so rarely get a chance to watch somebody else practice. So I'm learning more and more in my teaching to do live sessions with students, and we record them, and then we review them, and we go back, and I can sort of comment on the bits that I felt worked. I can question what happened sometimes in how I was experiencing the particular angle that I took, and the person who's kind of being the client can also express what was going on for them, what worked and what they didn't like, and being able to sort of slow down time like that is extraordinary. And also, what you see in a live session is sometimes, and certainly what you experience in a live session, and then what you see in a recording are often very different. And in terms of tracking the unconscious process, often there's the big elephant walking around the room that when you're in the moment, you're sublimely unaware of. And it's only afterwards you think, how could I miss that? That's so obvious, And that's that's the stuff that I'm really interested in, just kind of teasing out, as who knows what's going to happen, but I'm open to learning. I think for me, I'm a perpetual student, and so it's always just exploring whatever's going to happen and what can I take from that? How can I evolve my practice to become a more effective practitioner as a supervisor or as a therapist? That's always the goal.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Something that really we all want to be striving for. So yeah. And it sounds like in that format you're going to have a live session. As part of the technology that Sandra's operating, you're going to record that live session and then you're going to play it back in the workshop and see what learning could be had from it. Yeah. Wow,
yes.
that sounds like very exciting and very interesting to colleagues, I think, just to engage with that learning. I'm thinking about the other part of the theme, balance. Like, what's your thinking about that, Judy? Like, the chaos makes sense, especially all the technology that you're going to engage with. Anything could happen on the day. But what are you thinking about balance?
The balance is parts of my understanding and one of the things that I've been very interested in. I've been working with Carl Gregory over the last couple of years to develop we're exploring the relational approach and what does that mean. And I'm a craniosacral therapist as well as a psychotherapist. So I'm very interested in learning and regulating myself through my central nervous system. I think, trauma and shame are features of a central nervous system much more than a psychological system in many ways. So when I can find a balance in myself and feel I'm centered and collected, then I'm not having to close down or control so much. I can allow the chaos when it comes, and I can revel in the harmony when it comes, and I can respond to both. I'm not kind of going to fall over because I'm not in harmony with myself. And when I'm dysregulated and the chaos comes into me, then I can also notice that and find ways of regulating it. It's bringing my awareness back into myself as the sort of balancing the fulcrum in a way for the interaction between me and another.
Oh, I love the way you described that, Judy. Yeah, I really appreciate that. And just thinking about where our shame is located and how we can take care of that. It's so important and so challenging for us as practitioners, I think. Yeah.
And I come from a very I have a very shame-based system. So I'm very familiar with shame, and a lot of the work I've done with Carl has really helped me regulate my shame when it comes. And in a way, I've wondered why I'm putting myself on the line potentially in such an exposing way. But I think shame is such a universal experience, and the antidote to shame is compassion. And I'm trusting that we all, as practitioners, as therapists, coming from a compassionate enough place to support this as an endeavor rather than sitting in judgment and condemning. It's more my intention, which is one of the things that Carl and I are looking at in terms of what are the components of a relationship. And for my craniosacral training, I was taught about the power of intention. So if I'm attuned to the sort of highest good of a situation, as I am when I roll up to something like this or in any therapeutic encounter, then already that's the balancing tool for me in a way. That if I'm clear in my intention, then I really do trust a process that will happen. And it may not be comfortable always, but there's enough of a clarity within my system that can help me engage in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, so you really are putting yourself out there, engaging with the capacity for shame in terms of the session, reviewing it with colleagues. And I guess it's a real invite to colleagues to come to the conference or to join on the Facebook page and be part of that exploration, to bring the compassion and to have the learning. It just sounds great. And Sandra, I guess you're holding the technology and the kind of times, and how would colleagues engage with this session? What's the process for someone who's watched this video and said, yeah, I've definitely got to come along and see this? Yes, yes.
Yes, of course they're going to say that. Yes, next. Yeah, so the next thing we'll do is we'll add a link with this video, and the link is actually a process to then register your interest in joining the workshop. So it's just a matter of clicking on the link, and the link will then take you straight to your Messenger app, and then that will let us know that you're interested in joining the session. And so then we will then send you a reminder. So I'll send a reminder the day before, and then that's just like kind of just to remind you that the session will happen on Saturday the 7th. And then once we're going live on Saturday, I'll also send a reminder through Messenger. So all of the process is done through Facebook. So it's just basically clicking on the link that I've set up, and then it'll just kind of take you through your Messenger, and we'll kind of deal with the rest. So using brand new technology to do a little bit of the reminders and things. So that's exciting as well, kind of joins in with what Judy's doing. And so click on the link and just register your interest.
So I guess colleagues are most likely to be watching this trailer on Facebook, and just below the video or just above the video, somewhere, you know all this stuff, Sandra, there'll be a link to click on in order to make the registration, and then all that process will happen through Facebook Messenger, which is incredible. Yeah. And so colleagues will get a link just as get a reminder through Facebook Messenger just as the workshop's starting on the Saturday. And we'll be able to join in right there and then on the page. Incredible, Sandra. Just think of
mind-blowing.
Yes. No, it really is. Yeah. But working smoothly as it will, it's a really nice process to be able to have some time to be able to spend obviously with Judy, and a little bit of learning, and it'll join up people that are in the room as well as people online as well.
Yeah. And if colleagues are watching this thinking, oh, I'm a bit nervous, I'm not sure, maybe also could feel a little bit like shame about capacity to engage with the workshop. I know, Sandra, it's really a passion of yours to have a space where everybody can come along and feel welcome. Like you'll help people kind of manage the technology and just really relax into the learning, I guess.
Yeah, because that side, when you are a little bit tense about the technology, it can kind of either put you off or make you lose some of that, what's happening, I know myself, I've been there when you're trying to work technology. So yeah, we'll make it as simple as we can, and make the process just so that you can send a message if you either can't see the video or something. Just be in contact with us, even in the comments on the Facebook feeds. And that everybody will kind of be together. We'll kind of take care of everybody in the room and online as well.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds fantastic. It sounds really great, and a lovely opportunity for colleagues who can't make it in person to the Supervision Conference just to come along for some of the day, I guess. So even if people couldn't have made the whole day, to spend a little bit of time with you both and the group that's at the conference with what really sounds like a fascinating and challenging piece of learning. So yeah, sounds great.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Thank you both for taking some time tonight just to give us a sense of what's coming up on the Online Events Facebook page. We really appreciate it. I think this is a great project with the workshop, and I'm sure the colleagues are really going to enjoy this learning. So I guess we'll say goodbye to everybody that's been watching the video, and also to Judy and Sandra. Sandra, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye for now. Bye.